everybody, my name is Ryan and I am the Laser Noob. Now today I'm going to be testing some brass plates, see if we can mark these. So I had somebody hit me up on YouTube and made a comment about testing brass. I have not tested brass. I've done copper, which didn't turn out real great. I did that with a 10 watt. I got the 36 watt Whizmaker L1 and I'm gonna see if we can get some brass marked. So I got some brass plates to test, and what I'm gonna do is I have got some dry moly compound and I have some cold galvanizing compound, okay? And I'm going to test with those two, and I have another one that I've got, and I'm not gonna tell you what it is just yet, because I'm not a big fan of buying expensive stuff. So anyway, but if those don't work out, we'll try that third one and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll try it anyway. And listen, before anybody says cold galvanized compound is toxic, I installed myself a commercial exhaust system in my shop. I am not worried about it. With that being said, if you are in an enclosed space and you do not have very good exhaust, do not use cold galvanizing compound with your laser, okay? So please, nobody go in my comments and say I shouldn't be using it because you don't know what setup I've got, or maybe you do if you've seen the video. Otherwise, STFU. So, with that being said, let's get the laser fired up. Let's turn light burn on. Let's load up a couple of speed power tests, and we're gonna see what comes out of this, all right? Let's get to work. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and set up a material test on this. I'm just gonna run a speed power test, and what I wanna do is, now, this is a full feature inside of Lightburn. If some of you don't know, you can do this all in Lightburn. You don't have to make your own. You can do it this way, which is quicker. I usually make my own because I just like to remember how to do it, I guess. So what I'm going to do is I have my blank workspace right here, 400 millimeter by 400 millimeter. I am going to go up to Laser Tools, and I'm going to go to Material Test. Now this brings up this little window, and all I want to do is I don't want this very big. These are pretty small squares of brass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 3 millimeters. Let's go down 3 millimeter, and my width is going to be 3 millimeter. Okay, and what I've got here is my speed is minimum 10 millimeters a second, all the way up to 300. The 36 watt will still engrave really well at 300 or even more millimeters a second. And my power is going to go on my first square from 10% all the way up to 100%. So we're doing 10 squares, so it's going to increase 10% power each square it goes. So, but anyway, that's all nice. That's nice and easy. So we've got that set. Now what I'm going to do, let's make that a little smaller, is here is my brass, okay? So let's go ahead and turn the laser on. And now, okay, so over here, this is my dry moly that I have laid on here. So my dry moly lubricant is here, and my cold galvanized compound is over here. Right now, this is just bare. I don't have anything under there. I just taped it to keep it from getting overspray on it. But that's it. All right. So let's go ahead and frame this. Let's see how big this speed power test is going to be. And that easily fits in. So, and that's a little bit smaller than the cold galvanized compound square. You know, this one's a little smaller. So anyway, let's go ahead and we're going to turn on our air assist. I actually remember to do that. And now all I'm going to do is up here in Lightburn is I'm going to hit that start button on that material test generator. And actually, before we do that, let me walk over here, turn on my exhaust fan. My exhaust fan is now running. We are all set. Let's start the tests. Okay, so I did the first test, one with dry moly lube and the other with cold compound, cold galvanized. So here's what I got. And it's real hard to get close because the camera wants to like dim, but this on this side is the cold galvanized compound, and this is the dry moly lube. Okay, so actually the dry moly lube is more black, and the cold galvi is a little bit more gray on this. So from what I'm seeing right now, I would go cold galvi, or I'm sorry, dry moly lube. So that gives me a black. So when I first pulled this off, I cleaned it off, and then I'm like, oh crap, I can't see what my speed and powers were on that. So I took a piece of wood and I ran real quick before it finished all the squares. So it's all at the 10 millimeters a second speed, and 10, 20, all the way up to 100 on the power on that bottom row. And the bottom row is definitely the best. So on the dry moly, I'm looking at the 70% power. So 10% speed and 70% power gave me the blackest one on that. And on the cold galvi, I'm looking at the 10 and 100 and 10 and 190. Those are the darkest ones, but like I said, they're still gray. I'll try and take a couple of still photos and see if I can put them in there, and you guys can see the difference between the black and the gray. There's not a ton of difference, but there's still a little. So with that being said, I think what I need to try and do is, let's go ahead and throw this in the laser with nothing on it. I'm going to clean it up real quick, let it dry, throw it in the laser with nothing on it, see if that 36 watts going to do anything. I don't know. Let's see. We'll do that, and if that doesn't work, then we're going to try that other stuff that I had to frickin' buy. Well, I'm not a fan of buying stuff. So anyway, let's go figure it out. Back at Lightburn, let's see if we can do this. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and enlarge Lightburn here. I'm going to do another material test. So let's go down here and go back to laser tools. Let's go to material test. Now what I want to do is, I got a little bit bigger area on this one. I want to go ahead and leave this at 5 and 5 as far as the height and width of the squares go. I'm not going to mess with that a whole lot. But what I am going to do is I am going to lower the power, or the speed, down to 5. So let's go ahead and type that in at 5. And my minimum power is going to be, we're going to put that at 10, where it was before I touched it. So that's going to lower our speed on that very first square. I have a feeling that, you know, if it was going to do some marking with just the laser, that some of that other stuff at the higher speed and powers would have showed up even after it had burned off the dry moly or the cold galvanized compound. So if we're going to go bare, let's go ahead. We're just going to start at 5 mil. You know what? Now, let's do like 2.5. No, it's not going to let me do a point. So let's go 3 millimeters a second. All right, and we'll see what happens there. It's a little bit slower than 5. So we're going to go from 3 millimeters all the way up to, and I think we're going to go up to 100 millimeters a second. No need for those higher speeds, because I'm pretty sure it's not going to work. Our minimum power, 10%. Max power, 100%. Let's go ahead and turn the laser on and frame this. Yeah, I'm not real sure that this is going to work at all, but you never know till you try. All right, so we've got our speed and power material test set up. let's go ahead and frame that and see if it's going to fit. Woo! That is not going to fit. Let's go up. And try that again. Okay, that does fit. I'm going to come down a little bit more. One more time. That's right on the edge. So let's see what this is going to do. So this, again, I cleaned this off. It's completely bare. There's nothing on it. Let's go ahead and let's see what happens here. I don't think anything's going to happen. But what the hell? Get her done. Okay, so kind of like I thought, didn't really do jack, didn't do anything. So this side here was the dry moly cold galvanized compound, and this is just plain. Now you can see how you can see the squares, but it hasn't done anything. Really all it has done is like kind of really cleaned the metal, but there is no discoloration there. Right here at 3 millimeters and 100 power, so 3 millimeters a second, 100% power, it almost discolors it right there, like a reddish maybe almost, but I mean it's insignificant. So with the 36 watt plain, it's not doing anything. So now, here's what I'm going to do. So, what I did is I went on and I bought a can of marking spray from another company, you know, like a year ago. It was super expensive. It was almost like $80 after shipping to get this little tiny can. It was made by Enduramark. Not a fan. It worked. I mean, it did some stuff, but I mean, for $80, it doesn't go very far. I mean, it was ridiculous. So I ordered some stuff this time off of Amazon, and I got it. And it's the Omtech laser marking spray. It's a black laser marking spray by Omtech. Now, one of the things that I will say is that the Omtech black laser marking spray says right on there that it is for CO2 lasers. But when I bought the Enduramark charcoal glass, it said the same thing. It was for CO2 lasers, and it worked. I just didn't want to spend the money because I thought that the tempera paint was way cheaper and it did just as good. So, and I wanted white, not black. So anyway, let's go ahead. I got this Omtech. Let's try it out. This is way cheaper than the Enduramark. I will say this, I am not sponsored by Omtech. I have no affiliation with Omtech. I paid for this. This is not any kind of free advertisement or endorsement. Just me trying stuff out, showing you guys. So let's go ahead and mark this up and give it a shot and see what happens. All right. Okay, so for this one, I'm not real sure what speed power we're gonna run. So on this test, come down here and we're gonna do our material test, and I am gonna go typically I think 3 millimeters, like I did on that last one, was way too slow. So let's see here. So we're gonna go speed. I think our minimum, we'll keep it at, we'll go 5 millimeters a second. Okay. And I have enough room. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this at 5 and 5. And we're going to go all the way up to, I think, yeah, we're going to leave this at 300 millimeters a second. And our max power, 100%, obviously. That ought to give us a good range. And might even, to get a better idea, make this thing a little bit bigger. So let's turn the laser on and let's see if this thing, if I have enough room to run this like it is. Let's go ahead and frame this. Woo, not even close. So let's knock that down to 3 millimeters and 3 millimeters. And frame it again. That's almost done it. And if it weren't for the words, you know, the text, I think it would probably fit. So let's frame it one more time. Okay, that's got it. We're just going to have to run this at 3 millimeter width and 3 millimeter height on our squares. But that's the same settings we used on the other one. So with that, let's go ahead and start this. I'm going to turn on my air assist. I am going to go turn on my exhaust because I do not know if this stuff is toxic or not. So let's get that exhaust going. Flip that switch. All right, air assist on. Exhaust fan on. And let's get her done. All right, so I used the OMTech laser marking spray, the black laser marking spray, and I went ahead and I threw a couple of light coats on there, and I threw that in the laser. And I gotta be honest, I mean, that's a lot of black there. I'm looking for black, and black is exactly what I got. So, as much as I hate to admit, I mean, I really like to do stuff. I like to find a way to do stuff without having to buy another thing in order to do one thing. So, but on the brass, I mean, I don't know. We're going to do a side by side anyway. But anyway, so on this stuff, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a microfiber for this black marking spray. Now the other stuff, you know, I used like some acetone, got that stuff off. So just a microfiber rag with some water, and you can see that, I mean, it wipes right off with water. This stuff is pretty user friendly apparently. And after wiping off with the microfiber, I still have quite a bit of black there. It's almost looking like the 100% power. Oh no, there's several. I might have to get my old man glasses and cause can't see. Oh no. See if I can tell any difference with these ones. Oh, I can see a little bit. So 100%, 93.1, 86.2, 99 or 79.2. I mean, all the 5 millimeter a second speeds look good. The 28 millimeter a second speeds look good. The 50s look good. I mean, really, they all kind of look good. A few of them get more misshapen. So up here, you see like the 300. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the 300 is, I mean, it's not a square anymore. It's a little misshapen. But I'm gonna have to take a real close look at this with some different glasses on and see what I can see. And then I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the Omtech black laser marking spray, and I am going to put that up against the dry moly lube, because the dry moly lube did give me some black. And we're gonna see which one's better. We'll go from there. So I'm gonna take this other sheet. I'm gonna coat one side, do a test, coat the other side, do another test, and we'll do a versus, see which one's better. Let's get back at it. All right, so I got my reading glasses out and I checked the settings on what looked the best on the Omtech laser spray. So what I came up with is at 28 millimeters a second and 100% power. That is the best square that I can see. A lot of them were black, but that is the best square that is perfectly shaped square. Some of them get a little weird, a little wonky, but at 28 and 100, that square looked really good to me. So that's what I'm gonna do. And what I'm gonna do, since it's Christmas, we're just gonna take this little Santa Claus and tree. It's a simple design. The lines will all be fill. I mean, there's nothing fancy about it, but it is gonna take like an hour or so to burn this, according to Lightburn, so, which means it might take 8 hours, you know, because you can't ever trust Lightburn. So anyway, this is what we're going to do. We're going to test this, and then, whoops, pull that back up. What in the world is going on? Okay, that's not it. Hey, there we go. Good Lord. All right, so I went ahead and I brought that brass plate outside and I sprayed it with the Omtech black laser marking spray. And this is you know, the Santa Claus and the Christmas tree. So let's go ahead and frame this, make sure it's going to fit. And it is. And like I said, 28 millimeters a second on my laser and 100% power. Let's go ahead and get this thing started, and then we will do the what was the other? The dry moly. Yeah, we're gonna do dry moly after this. So let's see which one's better. Hey guys, I just want to take this opportunity while we are watching the Omtech black laser marking spray test to say thank you to all of my viewers, likers, and subscribers to all of my videos. You guys are why I'm here and doing this. It's all for you. If you are not a subscriber, please take this opportunity to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hey, even check that bell button and get, you know, notified whenever I post a new video. Again, I want to say thank you. I love y'all, and this is why I do it. It's for you guys. This is the last laser test we're going to do. So now we're doing the dry moly test. This is the dry moly lube that I've done on the other side. So we've got the exact same thing. Now on this one, what we're looking at is with the dry moly was 10 millimeters a second at 100% power, and that's what came out best on the test that I did on the material test. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and make this a bit smaller. And we are going to turn our laser on. Let's frame this. Now you see what I've done is I have actually, I added a bunch of the honeycomb pins on here because it warped real bad the last time. So I'm going to try and keep it as flat as I can. Let's go ahead and frame this. See if the laser hits any of those pins. Okay, doesn't hit them. Let's go a little bit that way. Frame it one more time. And move it up a little bit. Frame one more. All right. And let's go ahead and now this is the dry moly. This stuff stinks a little bit. Let's go ahead and turn our exhaust fan on. Let's get that thing plugged in. So our exhaust fan's on. Air assist is on. And let's start it. All right, so I've done both of those tests and we're all finished. So here is the dry moly. Dry moly was better than the cold galvanized on the brass. Now here's my dry moly. Now you're gonna have a hard time seeing it probably, but up here it didn't quite get all of it. So most of it is pretty solid, but in his beard here, there's a little bit of where, as you can see, the brass underneath. So yeah, that's a no-go with the dry moly, but the Omtech black laser marking spray did a very good job, and it is completely solid all the way through. There's no inconsistencies in that. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of having to buy, you know, something like one of those sprays, things like that in order to do it. I like to be able to, if I got some paint or, you know, the dry moly or cold galvi, I like to try and use that when I can to try and get stuff without having to buy something special. But in this case, if you want to do brass, the laser dark is definitely the way to go. Just keep in mind though, even with the 36 watt running at such a high power, low speed, that it does warp. Okay, so you're gonna warp your brass on these thin sheets like this. A thicker sheet would probably do better. Now, I did say that the only other thing I wanted to do, I had one more test. So when I did the dry moly on copper, it came out, but it's not permanent. So all I did was I took a melamine sponge and water, magic eraser and water, and I rubbed on it, and it came off pretty easy. So I'm gonna do real quick, I'm gonna, on the brass with the dry moly, I'm gonna rub it with that melamine sponge. I just wanna see how well it holds up, even though it's, you know, the laser dark was better. So it doesn't come off as easy as the copper did, but it definitely does come off. So it is, even when in the consistent areas where it's solid, it's still not permanent with the dry moly. Now let's try the laser dark with the same sponge, and I want to see how permanent this is. And I gotta tell you, that's on there, man. That laser dark. The laser dark is on there. It is not coming off. So that is awesome. That's good to know that if I'm going to use that, if I got to buy that chemical, you know, to spray on there, if I'm going to spend that money, that it's going to be permanent. And with that melamine sponge, when I did that, it stayed on there. It did not come off. So I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of the Omtech black laser marking spray. So anyway, well, there you go, guys. That's your brass test, and I hope this helps you guys out. Thanks for coming along. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We'll see you guys in the next video.